Well, happy Friday, everyone. This is day 5 of the search for the missing plane from 1968. The NCAR plane with 3 people on board disappeared October 23rd. And this week, a group from the Michigan Technological University and a whole group of other partners and organizations involved have been on the search for this plane to find debris or the wreckage itself. But not just for the discovery, it was also to test out some new technology, which has been really interesting. If you've been able to follow along this week, that's great. If you want to find out more about it, you can check out our channel at YouTube at Real GLOS. That'll tell you all the live streams that we've done this week. We've been following along with the survey crew and unsurveyed crew because there's an uncrewed vehicle out as well, an autonomous surface vessel called the Armada 8, supplied by Ocean Infinity. So the big burning question, of course, is, has anything been found? Did they find the plane? We don't know yet. We're going to be talking to the data processing team, which is involving a group from the Great Lakes Observing System, Kongsberg, Ocean Infinity, and of course, MTU. So let's turn it over to Travis White. He's a research engineer with MTU. He's back in Houghton, Michigan, and there's a whole crew of people in the room with him. So Travis, maybe tell us about how did it go yesterday on day 4 of the survey, and then what did you folks do today?
Hey, Tim. Good afternoon. Good to be here. How's our audio today?
Your audio is pretty good. You sound like you're in a big room with a bunch of people.
Fantastic. Well, we're back to connectivity. Our vessel Sultan just landed on our dock around noon today, so our crew literally just got off the boat, and we are working on demobilizing some of the equipment. But to give you an update on the last day and a half of the survey, we finalized the entire survey area that we were searching. So that was about a 21 square mile area west of the north entry of Portage Canal, north of a small community called Frida or Red Ridge. And we basically completed that area based on the search box drawn up by Wayne Lizardi, our state's maritime archaeologist, who's sitting behind me, in hopes of finding sonar evidence of some sort of anomaly on the lake bed, in particular, looking for metallic aircraft parts. So today we're going to share with you some of the preliminary data and talk a little bit more about the process of ground truthing, the data processing that lays ahead of us yet, and kind of where the next steps lie with this.
Fantastic. That's great. We're looking forward to it. So are you going to have one of the team members share their screen so we can see what they're seeing?
Yeah. If Anthony's ready, I think I'd like to start out by bringing up a map view, and Anthony will drive and he can kind of explain what we're looking at.
All right. Yeah, I think a map view is a great way to provide context for viewers of where approximately you have been all week and even where you are now.
Yep, there we go.
Great, thanks, Tim. So as Travis was mentioning, we completed our entire search area. Plus, we were able to collect some additional data on the transit, about an hour-and-a-half long transit to and from the site each day. You can see clearly the transit lines leaving the Portage Canal on the western side of the Keweenaw Peninsula here. And as we zoom in here, you can see the entire 21 square mile search area. We were able to achieve fairly good resolution and overlap between our survey lines, and so we have very few gaps in this data. And as you see when you zoom in, you can see the bed form geology and lake bed in quite high resolution here. The color scheme here are the cooler colors are dropping off into deeper water, and the warmer colors, the reds and oranges, are shallower areas, and those are real features you're seeing on the lake bed there. So we're really excited that the data came together so well. As you've been mentioning throughout the week, we've been running 2 different multi-beam systems, one from Norbit and one from Kongsberg. So getting those 2 data sources to kind of talk to each other comprehensively has taken sort of every hour we've had off the boat to make work. And we're really excited with the progress. And and how things are coming out in the data. We have a couple more data processing steps to complete: the backscatter, the measure of intensity of the return. So if we see some harder objects and potential targets, we'll be seeing that more clearly in the backscatter data. And a little bit of a cliffhanger, but those are the products to come still.
Can someone in the room shed some light on what those scours on the lake floor are? I think viewers would certainly be interested in that.
They appear to be, glacial scours, most likely. This is the first time I've really seen any bathymetry from Lake Superior, so a little hard to identify at the moment, but they appear to be glacial features.
Yeah, that's fascinating. That's probably what I was thinking as well. So going back 10,000 years to the last ice age, approximately. Fascinating stuff. And so are you able to see any features in the imagery that you're showing us right now that could be identified as a target, something that warrants extra examination or investigation, either in the data or something that was done in the field?
Preliminarily, we just sat down and were able to get these two data sources merged. And as soon as we did, Travis noticed an interesting area, kind of in the size and form factor that we might expect for a potential vessel or other object that sort of sticks out quite dramatically in this red area here. Something definitely protruding high off the lake bed there. So initially, that's our first target with seeing the data in whole, but we marked essentially hundreds of small, we were looking for debris or large objects. So we would mark any potential target in real time as we were doing the survey. And they are scattered throughout the transit lines and the search area. So a bunch of work to come to ground truth those areas, but we do have up to more than 100 targets probably currently that could be ground truth at some point.
Okay. And just a reminder for people watching this video, wherever you are, this is all collected with sonar data. So it's not really a picture of the seafloor. It's a recreated model. And so when he was just zooming in there on that feature, it's not clear what it is. And that's partially because it's an image derived from sonar. And so we have to use ancillary information, whether that's from still photography or backscatter data, to try and better determine what the feature is. It's not so clear and obvious sometimes when you're dealing with this type of data, but that's one of the ways that we collect data when it's 400 feet down. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, and it's also good to see the sort of cross-sectional profile of the topography or the bathymetry of the lake floor in that area, and a good reminder for viewers as well that this is not a flat bottom. This is really kind of rough terrain that we're dealing with down there. So also not easy sometimes to identify or find objects, whether it's an aircraft wheel or a piece from a shipwreck or whatever it may be. Thanks very much. Did you have anything else that you want to share with us? I understand that there's going to be a few weeks of data processing. We've got some people from the Great Lakes Observing System helping out as well. But it's going to be quite some time probably before we have definitive answers on the targets that you have identified.
Yeah, well, thank you, Tim. I think the other thing we would just maybe like to share is sort of the first few targets that we did attempt to ground truth, and I'm going to let Chris Pino, who's sitting to my right, talk about that effort. Him and Wayne Lizardi, as well as Brian Williams, were leading the ground truthing side of this mission in real time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks for passing us over to Chris and Wayne. And for those of you watching, or if you didn't see it yesterday, we were fortunate to get the timing of the live stream just perfect when Chris and Ryan were just about to launch the AUV into the water, and then we were able to see it live, which was really cool. So, Chris, what did you find, or Wayne, whoever's going to speak?
Yeah, it's going to be Chris. So just checking on. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, pretty good. Thanks. Just keep your volume high.
Okay, I'm gonna be brave and share my entire screen. Stand by. Okay. So my responsibility on this project is to sort of do the ground truthing. So while Anthony mentioned that there there's probably hundreds of possible targets in there. Those won't emerge before post-processing, right? However, it is possible that when we're on the water, there might be some hot targets that show up, right? And there were a few. So what we do when that happens is we deploy our autonomous underwater vehicle, which you saw earlier today. What we do is we plan out this thing that's called an object identification mission, right? So the underwater vehicle will swim in this sort of this asterisk type shape over a potential target. So assume that the target is kind of in the center of all this thing, right? So it swims back and forth to get multiple looks at an object of interest. When that is complete, the vehicle is recovered to the surface, and we end up with something like this, right? Now, in this case, we found nothing but sand, but that's just how it goes. Okay, to give you an idea how difficult this is, I will zoom my map now to about the extent of the search area. Okay, great. You see how that is? Okay, so we had two targets of interest over here on the right hand side, one over here, and one over here on the left. Right? It's tough. It's a big lake. But I'm really hoping that with Anthony and my colleagues' work that many more of these brown dots will emerge, and we can go out there and take a look at them. That's all I have to say.
Fascinating. So it's a little not so easy, is it, to identify what things are?
Let's go take a look at this little dot here.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so what happened here? We discovered some rocks. Okay, so yeah, rocks. It is difficult. It's also very tedious. Just to run one of these brown spooges, right? I mean, it takes like 2 hours, right? Then you got to motor over to the next one and get that mission ready to go. Roughly 30 minutes of prep. 2-hour mission. It's tedious. And the boat is bouncing around, and everyone's hungry and hot. So, yeah. But it's fun and interesting.
Well, I'm glad to hear it's fun. It's always more enjoyable when people enjoy their work, and clearly you do. We've GLOS has interviewed you before, Chris, so I know that you're passionate about your work, and it's great that you're passionate about this as well. Particularly, it's for a really good cause, as it always is. But in this case, finding missing debris from an aircraft is pretty remarkable. Well, we wish you and the rest of you good luck over the next few weeks as you continue to process this data and examine those targets, and hopefully share your results when you have them. I'm sure you will, provide some closure for the family, but also just update to the public on this pretty exciting mission. I think it's a great model that could be replicated elsewhere in the Great Lakes and even beyond. The combination of crewed and uncrewed technology to look for features on the seafloor and contribute to the Lake Bed 2030 initiative is really great.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tim, and all the folks at GLOS who've helped us behind the scenes with this and getting the word out through these broadcasts. We're going to continue working on this, and all the information we've collected will be ultimately available to the public interest through your work with the Lake Bed 2030 initiative. So we're looking forward to seeing you all in Traverse City next week to share a little more.
Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you as well, and some of the people. And for those who are able to attend Lakebed 2030 conference in Traverse City next week, the vessel, I understand the autonomous surface vessel will be there. And just a reminder that none of this would have been possible without the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Governors and Premiers Association, with the Smart Ships Coalition, Ocean Infinity providing the vehicle, Michigan Technological University, Norbit providing the Echo Sounder Museum, National Museum of the Great Lakes helped sponsor, Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and the Michigan Department of Environmental, Great Lakes and Energy, along with Kongsberg and the Great Lakes Shipwreck Historical Society and QPS for providing some software, and then the Great Lakes Observing System as well for helping provide these live streams and some data processing services as well. So it's been a huge organization, coalition, I guess, of organizations helping to make this happen. And so we appreciate those who did tune in to the live streams this week, and those who viewed it later on your own time. That's wonderful. And if you would like to learn any more about Lakebed 2030, it's lakebed2030.org, or information about this, you can reach us through our YouTube channel, and we'll get you in touch with the right people at MTU or elsewhere. So once again, thanks again for joining, and we look forward to seeing you on future live streams, and we'll chat next time.
Thanks.